the intelligent purposive connections we make between different points in time or time vector points. A physical quantity has magnitude and direction. A time vector point has a frequency, magnitude, and a direction, past, present, and future, ascending, descending, radial, etc. The main application of pulsar cosmology is to plot various cycles of time that represent specific time vector points. The connections that we unveil within the patterning illustrate different types of celestial harmonics. The 13-moon calendar, along with other fourth-dimensional tools, such as the dream spell and telectonon, familiarizes us with these basic patterns of celestial harmonics. In a 260-day Solking cycle, there are 80 dimensional pulsars and 100 overtone pulsars. This creates numerous possibilities of celestial harmonics. Note that there are also more than 80 octaves of sound frequency, each governing a specific manifestation in the universe. Each 20-day cycle can be broken up into 20 wave spells. These 20 wave spells are arranged in 5 castles with 4 wave spell per castle. A castle of 4 wave spells, 52 days equals 13 times 4, consists of 4 tetrahedrons. Within each tetrahedron of time are the 3 other pulsars and 5 overtone pulsars. 52 days times 5 castles equals 260. These are the internal structures. A. There are 4-dimensional pulsars per wave spell and 16 per castle. 16 times 5 equals 80 pulsars. B. There are 5 overtone pulsars per wave spell and 20 per castle. 20 times 5 equals 100 overtone pulsars. There are many applications of the wave spell and pulsar code that can be used in various meditation practices. These also can be seen as a means of planetary yoga. The wave spell can be applied in several ways in order to read information. It allows us to enter a particular cosmology that reformulates the history of the phenomenal world and the physical plane cosmos. As we enter more fully into the noospheric phase of evolution on this planet, these types of mind technologies will further be developed. Following are a few examples of the many ways you can begin to work with pulsar cosmology. The more you work with them, the more they reveal to you. Pulsar cosmology, like the time transport vehicles described in the Dynamics of Time, can be used or constructed for different actions in the following sequence. 1. Personal, for restoration of personal magnetism and vitality. 2. Historic, for correction of imbalanced collective social patterns, including the elimination of toxic waste. 3. Interplanetary, for the creation of the circumpolar rings for peaceful interplanetary relations, and for the restoration of the planetary flux tube system, or reconnecting and repairing the ruptured heliospheric program. 4. Galactic, for exploration of higher dimensional spiritual functions of the super and subliminal consciousness. The galactic aspect is based on understanding biogeochemical transductions. It is also helpful to have some working knowledge of atoms, molecules, and the periodic table of elements, as well as astrophysics, especially as presented in cosmic science. This level has yet to be fully explored and activated. A. Reverse atomic and molecular spin through sensory teleportation exercises based on the wave spell geometry of time. B. Harmonic rearrangement of the synchronic order through biogeochemical transductions utilizing proton crystal geometries of different elements. C. whole-body sensory teleportation. The key points to reflect upon and study are the wave-spell geometry of the time pulsar, consciously utilized to reverse atomic molecular spin. To practice reversing atomic and molecular spin requires a corresponding system of knowledge. The first step is to understand what elements we are dealing with that constitute that particular atom or molecule. This can be found in the periodic table of elements, in which all of the elements are arranged in a particular order that corresponds to a type of binary arrangement. It is important to understand that the elementary composite elements all have protons or nuclear structures that are constituted in crystalline geometric forms. These structures take the form of variations of tetrahedrons, octahedrons, hexagons, and cubes. Octahedral is two tetrahedrons joined. The transposition of the cubic form and variations of the octahedron make it possible to formulate the pulsar geometries with proton crystal structures. Here is a step-by-step methodology. A. Determine the form structure of the particular proton molecule that the particular element you're working with takes. For example, we can choose to work with dissolving a particular uranium isotope so that it ceases to release radioactivity. Next, we find out what type of crystalline structure of proton molecule an atom of that particular uranium isotope has. This will be an octahedron form. C. Then we can project a pulsar, time, life, mind, or sense pulsar. We will know intuitively which to project. D. Project that pulsar telepathically into the crystal structure of the proton of that particular element. With the tetrahedron time pulsar, for example, we can neutralize the tetrahedron or octahedron structure and deconstruct it by putting in its place a particular tetrahedral time pulsar. We are dealing with a principle of how time dissolves space, or a constituent element of space. E. The projected geometry of the time pulsar would then go inside the crystal molecular structure of the particular proton of that atomic element, and rearrange it, or hit each of its vertices or corners, then neutralize and dissolves it. It might leave in its place either the geometric tetrahedral structure of the time pulsar and one of the triangulations, or it might dissolve the whole of the proton crystal structure, spectralizing it into nothing but the pulsation of its previous form. Pulsar cosmology is a form of telepathic technology used in earlier civilizations and presently in cosmic telepathic civilizations. For example, Votan used a version of pulsar cosmology at various points of the event continuum of his stream of consciousness. We differentiate between his particular experience in his 4-Catone Elder cycle between 603 and 683 on the Christian calendar. Votan's stream of consciousness extends back thousands of years when he was experiencing himself as a discarnate consciousness operating with his etheric form body. He used pulsar cosmology at different points in time. When he spent time within the center of the Earth core, Votan used pulsar cosmology as described to scan different points in time according to larger wave spells. He could project forward and backward in time to set in place certain time vector possibilities in future moments for specific purposes. This is a highly advanced telepathic technology, but it is not hard to develop if we have the right laboratory to define the crystalline structure of the proton nucleus of the different atomic elements and find out where the radioactive substance or toxic geochemical substance might be located and telepathically arranged to project a pulsar into it. The pulsar would work for a specific duration. If it was a tetrahedron structure, it would interact with a waveform of one of its other structures. A period of 8 days would deactivate the different intrinsic triangular or cube structures of the particular proton crystal. And over a period of time that would dissolve, and there would be nothing remaining but a time pulsation as its essence returns to the original void ether akashic state. To summarize, this particular transductive pulsar technology depends on first understanding the pulsar geometries and the crystalline proton structures of the different elements. Next, we must learn how to isolate those elements and project the particular wave spell geometry structure to deactivate the atomic elemental structure for a period of time. Depending on the nature of the proton structure, we would know which particular pulsar to utilize for deactivation. This is the beginning methodology for how this process works. Harmonic rearrangement of the synchronic order through biogeochemical